Morbid Facts, Part 214. Joaquin Phoenix's older brother River was a much bigger star than Joaquin in the 1990s. But in '93, the 23-year-old died of a heroin overdose while partying with members of the Red Hot Chili Peppers at Johnny Depp's nightclub on Halloween. Joaquin was the one who found River and called 911 for help, but it was too late. An award-winning middle schooler science fair project showed that on average, 70% of the ice found at fast food restaurants is dirtier than toilet water. In 1955, John Graham hated his mother so much that he hid 25 sticks of dynamite and a timed detonator in her suitcase before her flight. It was one of the first ever attacks of a commercial flight, and all 44 people on board were killed. 2016, 23-year-old Colin Scott was trying to feel the temperature of a Yellowstone hot spring when he suddenly slipped and fell in. When his body was found floating later that day, the water temperature was measured to be right around boiling point. Emergency services were unable to retrieve Scott's body until the next day, by which point it was completely dissolved, leaving nothing but his wallet and...
Whatever you do, don't fall in this hole.
I'm sorry if any of you guys have submechanophobia because this video probably freaked you out. One of you guys tagged me in this TikTok video where there's a hole in the surface of the water on this pond. The person recording this got closer, and as you can see, the bottom of this is not visible. Tons of people were freaked out about this, and a lot of people were concerned that if you got too close to this, you might end up falling in. Now, believe it or not, these pipes here are actually very common on ponds that might be getting a lot of water. They're known as pond overflow pipes, and this is what they look like when the pond is at a normal level. When these ponds flood or get an excessive amount of water, if the water gets up to this level, it'll start draining through the pipe, and it prevents flooding. Now, if you were to fall down one of these, you would likely end up getting trapped at the bottom until help would be able to come and rescue you. Judging by the fact that you also can't see the bottom, this is probably between 20 to 30 feet, so falling in this could injure you or end up taking your life. To be honest, I'm really shocked they don't have some sort of grate on top to make it safer. But I would definitely recommend staying away from this, because if you accidentally fall in, it could be pretty bad.
I seen something like this in another video. They designed it to filter out all the trash that's on the pond, but that makes sense to regulate the water levels. Just don't get too close or you might be the next one getting filtered out.
Is it me, or are we starting to see signs of the 4 horsemen in the Revelations? And if you turn to Revelation 6, they talk about the 7 seals. And when the first seal opened, the first horseman is released. He is a rider that's holding a bow and rode out to conquer, bent on conquest. So we all know what's going on in Ukraine, right? Hey, yeah, how Russia is conquering Ukraine. And then we know in the beginning of sorrows, nation will rise against nation, sound like the conqueror. Does that not sound like this situation right here? The next horse is the fiery red horse that rides out to take peace from the earth and make people kill each other. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I haven't quite yet seen any signs of this horse yet. And then we have the black horse that sounded like Gargamel from the Smurfs. 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages. 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages. And do not damage the oil or the wine. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, gang, the way inflation looking right now, this might be around the corner. Carton of eggs is almost $5. And then we got the pale horse, the rider named Death. Yeah, Hades follows close behind him, and he was given power over 1/4 of the earth to kill by sword, famine, plague, and the wild beast of the earth. Now, yesterday we just had a man that died from the Black Plague, and they trying to find out everybody he was in contact with. Also, a man in Oregon last month was hit by the same plague. You know, just something to think about. But y'all let me know in the comments, do y'all think we starting to see signs of the 4 horsemen?
It's always signs. If I listen to most people, the world would have been ended 30 times since I've been alive.
So for today's drink,
now what if she would have got ate up? Now, why she got the window open at nighttime like that?
Jen?
Yeah, alright. Why would you chase it? Yeah, I'm out of there. I'm gone. Oh, what's that movie with Marlon Wayans when that ghost came and got him out the bed? haunted house.
आ जाओ भाई आगे बढ़ो ड्रॉ इसको थोड़ा सा आवाज करो ओए पीछे 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 भाई बहुत सारे लोग ये रुको आगे आओ ड्रॉ मत इससे इसकी आंखों में रोशनी डालो पीछे डर रहा है पीछे हट रहा है
Is that mold on melons? Mold on coconuts? What is that? Yeah, I'm cool. I wonder what that tastes like. Fry it up in a skillet. That ain't weird.
2024 just got even crazier. Yeah, 2024 is going to be the worst year ever for a number of different reasons. Now, according to a time traveler from the future, these are events which are going to take place in the next 12 months. Now, the thing that's a bit scary about this is that there's been other predictions. The Simpsons, Baba Vanga, who are much more trusted sources, who have some of the same predictions as well. But some of them are absolute bollocks. And apparently, in early April, some seas will actually turn black and a mysterious sea creature will show up on the shores. No, it won't, will it? It won't, will it? Apparently, in May, the second US Civil War will actually begin as Texas separates from the country, with other states soon following, leading to an all-out war with other countries getting involved as well on mainland American soil. August, there will be some mysterious discoveries found in the rainforest. Hundreds of new species, and that is actually crazy because we have been finding a lot of species recently under the ice, under the rainforest, including 6-foot tall butterflies and giant spiders. What is this video? Oh my days. Now, this is interesting. Apparently, on October 25th, 2024, a very famous musician will come back into the light and announce that he had faked his death. So, let me know in the comments who you think that could be. And finally, a huge solar storm to hit Earth. Now, this is crazy because The Simpsons predicted this, Baba Vanga predicted this, and a huge gaping hole opened on the sun at the end of last year, which was literally firing out solar storms towards Earth. So, it's very possible. There's also been blackouts in the US, mobile phone signals going down across the globe. There was one night where it all went crazy in America and people thought it could have been a mini solar storm. So yeah, that one could be pretty likely. But yeah, as always, hit that follow button and I will see you in the next one.
I gotta admit, it's been a wild year and we only a quarter way through. I'm kind of anxious to see what the rest of 2024 will be.
Hey, figure one, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
All right, so how do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
Uh-oh, it's coming, and they doing a good job of rolling it out. People won't even know what hit them until it's all said and done with.
Crazy things caught on camera. This man was coming home from work when the absolute unthinkable happened. This is why you can never be too safe. These two men approached him as he was getting out of the car. Mind you, this is an older man. He's in his late 50s, early 60s. These two guys come up to him as he's trying to get out of his car, and they're going to try to rob him or take stuff from him. They're pulling him out of the car here. I believe they may be armed, and this guy's like pretty freaked out. He's like, what are you guys doing? But then this is when it gets a little crazy, because you're going to see these dogs. This is one of the women who's staying at the house with him. Two of these puppies are about to be released from the house outside of this gate. They're going to run right here, and they are going to literally just come right at these guys who are attacking their owner. And right there, it knocks one down, gets the other one, scares them back, and they're able to get this guy back into his house for safety. You see these guys right here running.
Hey, you better be lucky you had those dogs. I don't know if they were trying to steal, but it was definitely a failed mission.
Could shape-shifting robots be made of liquid crystals? Liquid crystals are everywhere in the modern world. It's a substance between a liquid and a solid. So it can flow like a liquid, but has some of the molecular structure and optical properties of a solid. This is actually what LCD screens are made of, which stands for liquid crystal display, or even mood rings. Shaping liquid crystals on flat surfaces has been easy enough, but building them into a 3D object has been tricky or expensive. Basically, you have one layer of a photosensitive material, which is something that has a chemical or electrical response to light, which are handy for solar panels. So they shine polarized light on that one layer and regular light on a different layer going up. This creates a blueprint for left, right, up, down, essentially creating a 3D shape for a material, say an arm or a hand, to snap into that shape. Now, the researchers who have been working on this at Johns Hopkins have been working on a very small scale, but theoretically the technology could be shaped into anything, which would be very handy for machines that need to adapt and improvise.
You may have heard of curled up extra dimensions. To understand what those are, let's think about transmission lines. From this point of view, those transmission lines just look like perfectly straight lines with no thickness. As a human, if you were to try to traverse across the transmission lines, you would only be able to walk back and forth along them. This is like the regular 3 spatial dimensions that we have. But zoom in a bit on those transmission lines and now they have thickness. But still, even as a human, you can't travel around the transmission line. You're too big, you can only travel along it. But if you put an ant on that transmission line, now the ant can walk all the way along it, and it can also go around it. So because the ant is smaller, the ant is zoomed in more, the ant experiences one additional direction that it can travel in, an additional dimension. Now of course that's just an analogy. In our world we have 3 spatial dimensions, and we think that there could be as many as 6 curled up tiny dimensions. And the shape that those dimensions would take would not just be simple circles, they would be a lot more complicated. But that's the basic idea. I hope you learned something.
That video was showing something coming in the firmament or something trying to get out of the firmament. Let me be real clear. You cannot leave the firmament and things cannot come in the firmament unless you have advanced technology. If you are paying attention to the media, you will notice that all these airplanes are going down. Why are all these airplanes going down? Is it connected to the firmament or these aliens trying to come in and off of this planet? They don't want us to fly because they don't want to see what's happening up in the skies. I want people to understand what the firmament really is. There's a group of archons or jinns that's on this planet with us. The firmament is a quarantine to lock away these jinns, but unfortunately we got caught up in the mix of things. So they've been trying forever to break through the firmament so they can escape. They're not going nowhere. That's why spirituality is so important, because once your heart is lighter than a feather and you become enlightened, you can actually travel through the firmament or the glass dome. These airplanes that the media is speaking about, they are all scare tactics. They don't want you flying, because if you fly, you might start seeing UFOs and all kind of things they said that wasn't real. Remember, we live in a duality world, so if they hide knowledge, they're asking for someone to come and find it. That's what make the duality complete. A lot of movies say the firmament is a glass dome. Kind of true, but it's not really glass, it is actually water. This water is so powerful that nothing can penetrate it. You have to raise your consciousness and open your third eye, because you don't want to be tricked with Project Bluebeam. There are real things happening above our heads every day, but Project Bluebeam can make things look real also. Open your third eye. So don't be surprised if you go outside at nighttime and you see a sky looking like this. Everything is coming to the light. What is hidden is no longer hidden. For more info,
I've seen a lot of these sightings taking place. What do y'all think it is? Leave me a comment below.
He was standing like a robot. I mean, his hands are really down like this against his side, and his eyes were really big, and he looked so scared. And I stepped toward him, and I remember thinking, my God, he's paralyzed with fear. That's the thought that went through my mind. And I stepped toward him, and I put my hands out to him, and I said, sweetie, they won't hurt you. They won't hurt you. You'll be okay. They won't hurt you. And it was like he couldn't even hear me. He didn't look at me. His eyes were just like straight ahead. And the light was all around us at that time. But there was nothing I could do. And that's the last thing that I remember. Everything after that was like a dream. We just got like really, like in a dream where things, out of sequence, and I knew I wasn't in my home. I didn't know where I was, but I could hear Danny screaming, and I was just like trying to hit something. I remember it was just really crazy. And then the next thing that I remember was waking up the next morning.
Do you believe? Extraterrestrials have been here for thousands of years, and I want to explain it. So let's start off with the foundation and the facts. Number one, this whole realm that we live in is spiritual. We have spirits, you have extraterrestrials, and you have interdimensional beings. Now, on top of this, within knowing that this is a spiritual realm we live in, everything is energy, frequency, and a vibration. So just like we see in movies, we see extraterrestrial existences infiltrating different planetary systems for their own beneficial goods and resources. And this is exactly what has happened to this planetary system. It's been infiltrated by an extraterrestrial existence. And this extraterrestrial existence that infiltrated this planetary system, they have enough information on how to bend the laws of this universe to enslave a whole planetary system. And this extraterrestrial existence that works with spirits and negative energies, they are our politicians and the puppets in Hollywood. Hence the movie Monsters, Inc. This movie represents the puppets in Hollywood and how they go about their agenda. It's to see who can get the highest score, the most screams, the most negative energy to be cultivated. And it also has to do with children, just like these people in Hollywood, they do stuff with. So yes, this movie is based on negative archonic entities feeding on, and just like in this realm we all live in, there are negative archonic entities. And last but not least, I do personally believe that these people that run the world, they exchange sometimes humans and other resources for technology to keep this system up and running how they want it to. And then that's when you get into Antarctica and what they got over there, and that extra terrain over there where they do weaponized testing and all that other stuff for extraterrestrials, but we're not going to get into that in this video. But yes, ETs have infiltrated this planetary system, and they are our politicians and the people in Hollywood. And this is their way of initiating entertainment in a way where we comply for their own benefit, which we don't see. Keep in mind, to enslave a whole planetary system like this, you have to know the laws of this universe and how this universe overall works.
I believe extraterrestrials been here way before us. Who knows the reason? But they definitely here.
Did you guys ever hear about the morgue worker who will sexually assault her clients? Yes, a morgue worker sexually assaulting her clients, and she ended up being pregnant and having a baby by one, y'all. Check this story out.
A 50-year-old morgue worker was arrested this morning after a DNA test revealed that her newborn child was the result of a necrophiliac intercourse with a man she was supposed to autopsy. Jennifer Burrows, an assistant pathologist with the Jackson County Medical Examiner Services, is accused of having sex with dozens of corpses over the course of the last 2 years, a behavior which led the birth of a baby boy on January 7th. According to the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, her baby is the son of a man who died in a car accident in March 2017 and whose body she was supposed to autopsy. They allege that Ms. Burrows sexually abused more than 60 other dead bodies, belonging to males aged from 17 to 71 years of age. She is facing a total of 158 charges, including indecent treatment of a corpse, disorderly conduct, indecent exposure and possession of illegal drugs. The psychologists and experts that we interviewed were divided in their interpretation of Ms. Burroughs' case. Some, like Professor Isabella Ramirez of the University of Missouri, believe that the young woman was suffering from a psychosis and had, at least partially, lost any notion of reality.
If you guys are like me, you're probably thinking about what the hell, how did this happen? Well, let me tell you how. Long story short, the man was in a coma for years from the car accident, and the family decided to pull the plug because they couldn't afford it. The family was able to plan his death, so they decided to send him to the morgue that only accepts people in the specific scenario. But usually by the time the body arrives, the body is clinically dead. However, that wasn't the case with him. Assuming he was clinically dead, the woman ran into one of the men who found the trash in towards, hence a necrophiliac with dead corpse. Apparently, he wasn't dead yet and was still conscious at the morgue, and it was in the autopsy room that she would perform sexual acts with the corpse. Since he was still in a coma, she was still able to get pregnant, in which case she did. She tried to sue the man's family for getting her pregnant by giving a false statement accusing him of rape, but after looking back at the camera footage and realizing he wasn't the only one that this happened to, she was found guilty. What the hell? Ain't no way that they clinically diagnosed this lady with psychosis. I mean, it makes sense. It literally makes sense. Are you kidding me, y'all? That's crazy. So yeah, y'all. So that's proof to show you that people are disconnected from reality, and a lot of them are in their own world. So you need to be careful who you come around, because you never know what world that person's in at the time they come across you.
What can possibly be going on in her mind? Like, look at this sexy dead devil. Let me put it on him.
Planet's first pictures versus now. Earth then. Now. Mars then. Now. Jupiter then. Now. Saturn then. Now. Uranus then. Now. Neptune then. Now. Venus then. Now. Mercury then. Now.
Hey, they editing skills and got a whole lot better, haven't it? Those old planets look more real than the new ones.
People are claiming to see a face next to the moon at night, and they're catching it on camera.
It's up there again.
Siri, come look at this.
It's up there again. There's the face. This is not an app. It's a face. Everybody's out here. Everybody's out here looking. We're coming out here to see. Hold on, I gotta get this. Y'all see that?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Now, hold up. Let me zoom so everybody can see it. Nice. Zoom on it. Hey, y'all need to call somebody.
I don't know, y'all. Well, we got company. We got company. Look at him. Look at him. Yes, it's blurry. I'm on an Android. But it's there. And look at all those brilliant colors surrounding him. Look at this. I see you, babe. I feel like you got a message for me, and I'm gonna figure out what it is.
And here's the last one. And what I think is kind of interesting is how they all kind of have the same facial features. They all kind of have that same Greek statue look, right?
From what I heard, it's a dude doing all these CGI face by the moon things. But if you know something different, let me know in the comments.
Alright, so they used to stick mercury thermometers in our mouth to check our temperature. They use mercury in thermometers to check the temperature outside, the air. Another way of saying that is they're using mercury to check the radio frequency emission. The Guardian says liquid mercury found under Mexican pyramid could lead to King's tomb. Archaeologists have found mercury at 3 other sites around Central America. But they have always told us that mercury is toxic and you shouldn't touch it. And in large amounts, it can be detrimental to the human body. Just take a look at that first paragraph. An archaeologist has discovered liquid mercury at the end of a tunnel beneath a Mexican pyramid, a finding that could suggest the existence of a king's tomb or a ritual chamber far below one of the most ancient sites of the Americas. One thing that you may not know is that Teotihuacan, I hope I'm saying that right, is the home of Tahuti. Okay, Tahuti, the Khan, is Thoth. Okay, Tahuti is Thoth. Keep that in mind. Early uses of mercury. They believed it had magical properties and associated with their god Thoth, who was the patron of wisdom and learning. The Greeks also used mercury in their religious practices. They believed that mercury was a symbol of life and death, and they used it to create an elixir of immortality. Alchemical properties. They also believed that mercury could prolong life when ingested in small amounts. Just pause to read this part that says the dark side of mercury use. And this is from Wired. How was mercury used in ancient times? Now, I'm going to have to revisit this because there's a lot to say about this, but what I want to leave you with in this video is that the crystal structure of mercury is rhombohedral. The crystal structures in your pineal gland are rhombohedral. What if those crystals in your brain they were made of mercury or had some type of mercury component to them? And that's why your pineal gland performs alchemy. And if they found liquid mercury underneath pyramids and golden orbs underneath the pyramids, and your pineal gland secretes a golden liquid, honey, what if mercury was used to visit alternate dimensions, just like your pineal gland secretes dimethyltryptamine and allow you to go in an alternate dimension that we call dreaming, and the slow drip that you get during every day gives you your waking life. If you like this content and you want to see more like this, make sure you like, share, and follow. Thank you guys for watching.